Hello and welcome to Property Mastermind Podcast, episode 233. This week we are talking about the dream team, how to build a dream team that delivers you great results. We're going to unpack all the things you need to know about the team that you work with and how to choose the right people. Let's jump on in, episode 233. Hello, and welcome to episode 233, where we are talking all about the dream team, the people that you need to have working with you, working around you, and how to choose the right ones to make sure you have a fabulous result with your property development. As usual, I'm Hilary Saxon, and this is Bob Anderson.
Hey, how you going, everyone? Hey, Hilary.
Hey, have you had a good day so far?
I have, but it's only been a short day so far.
Yeah, to be fair, it is pretty early in the morning, but how good is smashing out a podcast first thing in the morning?
Yeah, I like it.
Your brain's fresh. You've got lots of energy.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good. Hey, Bob, today talking about building our dream team and the team that delivers great results. Before we do, giving away the book to Chetan Zabd, Z-A-B-D-E. I don't know how you say that, Chetan. Anyway, this book's on its way to you. And head to page 121 to learn all about property development. I hope you find some nuggets of gold in there. Hope to see you and meet you one day soon. Bob, what's your tip for the day?
Well, seeing we're talking about teams and we are the developer, so we hire and fire, I'm going to say hire slowly, fire fast.
Great tip. Have you done that yourself?
Yep. But I've also fired late when I should have fired somebody earlier. But that's the same in anything. But hire slowly, meaning take your time to choose the right people. Don't rush it. Don't just hire someone because someone said, oh, they're good, you should hire them. Do your due diligence on them.
We'll really unpack that shortly. But yeah, I agree. We do tend to take a slow action when it's something negative. We resist maybe or hope they're going to get better. And
yeah, it's human nature. We want to see the best in everyone.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, Bob, we're going to talk about the key roles that we need in property development, who's our important ones and how.
You're talking about someone being unimportant now.
No, not being. I mean, who's our most important, I suppose, and how we choose them. So let's start off with, who is. Well, actually, before let's go back a step. Why do we need a team for property development?
Because we don't know everything, I guess. So what we're doing is we're relying on other people's expertise at all different stages of a property development. So nothing unusual. You've often heard me make the analogy, property development is a bit like an orchestra. So the conductor of the orchestra is the property developer, but the musicians who play their own instruments are all experts at playing their instrument. The violinist is an exceptionally good violinist, the cellist, everybody. And same in property development, the structural engineer, the architect, they're all specialists in that area. But we're the conductor, we're the glue that pulls them together.
So, I think that you really nailed it with that first statement, which was because we don't know everything. So we need to have the people working for us that do in the specific area that you need. And I'm going to go back a step and even just talk about, say, your everyday accountant right now. They might be a great accountant at what they do at tax, but they might not be that great with property. So it's not that you ditch them, you just ditch them for the property stuff. So there's a bit more to just, all right, I need to move on to everyone. And, your property accountant probably might not want to do all your other stuff, which is the case with how we work. Most of our stuff is done by specialists, and then we use our own people for our general people stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Even somebody like accountants, there's levels.
Yes.
We see people at Westfield who do very cheap tax return if you're on the PAYG or whatever it is system. And therefore, they have that level. They're good at your normal workers on salaries. And some of them are a bit better. They could do a bit of business tax. But, property development, we need specialist accountants. We could call them a property accountant, but really there's probably no such thing. But we say that because they need to be experts in property and structures and tax structures. So they're a higher level.
And also some people specialise. So you say a higher, there's levels, but there's also people that just specialise in those sorts of things. And that's when we're talking teams. So who is the most important person to get on our team first? If you listening, you are the property developer. Who's our most important person, Bob?
I'm going to say me. What do I mean by that? Well, me. Well, me or somebody like me. Let's make it that way. Particularly when you're starting out and you don't necessarily have a team. You don't know, the best architect, the best everything else. I think have a mentor. Let's say a mentor. I'll put my hand up for it, but somebody who has done a lot of property development, all sorts of property development that you can lean on. They'll help you through the whole project, all the aspects of the project. A town planner will help you at one part of it, a structural engineer at another part. So they all have their parts. Some team members come in and out and back in and get a bit later and so forth, but a mentor, we'll call that person a mentor, somebody you can rely on and lean on and get advice from, will be there for the whole project.
So they're the person who teaches you how to be a conductor of the orchestra.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, look at me go. Great analogy.
Show you how to hold the baton and how to wave it.
There's
a lot of skill in waving a baton.
Yeah, I know. Apparently. Apparently. I always thought it looks easy, and I suppose people thinking about property development might think the same thing until they delve into it, and then they'll be like, holy moly, I need a conductor teacher. So you're right, it is the mentor standing at the top. Who would you put as the second most important person?
And I'm saying that for people who are mostly starting out, or maybe did a development and realised they could have done a lot better. That's that sort of situation. Once you've done a project, at least one, had a good mentor, then you don't need to necessarily keep with them.
When you say that they've done a project and they could have done a lot better, or they got lucky and they realised that it was really luck that carried them over, and luck isn't a business plan. I love that saying because it's so true. I mean, you see it often. People will come. I spoke to somebody yesterday and they had done a development and they said, oh, yeah, I just really need to learn how to do property development now. But they luckily managed to get through with things they didn't know, which could have gone terribly bad.
Yeah, but what we need is somebody to realise it was luck that got them there. There's plenty of people who were lucky. Let's say post-COVID when values went through the roof. There's a lot of people with dud sites they should never have bought, but were saved by that.
Thank goodness.
If they didn't learn from it and didn't realise it was luck, the next one would be a disaster for them.
Yeah, post-COVID, that was luck, and thank goodness because there's nothing worse than seeing people not being successful. That's for sure. Bob, okay, so we've got the mentor as the most important person. Who's the next most important person on the team?
Well, it's difficult to say because they are all important. But there's also what would you call it? Well, start at the beginning. You don't start at the beginning with the builder, but a builder is a very important person if you're building a building. Say if you're doing a duplex or townhouses or a house or whatever you're building, very important person because it's a big cost, and you're dealing with them for a longer period of time. So they are important, but they're down the track. So if we wound it back to the beginning, because you've got to get the beginning right. If you do everything wrong leading up to the builder, it's not going to matter about the builder.
Yeah, the best builder in the world, still a disaster.
You might never get to that stage, you see.
No one's going to finance
it. Stuff it right up.
Yeah.
But in the early stages, what you would need to do is have a talk to a really good finance broker who's got a lot of experience with
disagreeing with you here.
Development finance.
I'm disagreeing with you.
Where are you going?
The next most important person, and probably before the mentor or even after the mentor, very close, is you, the developer, the person themselves. They are the most important person on the team because they need to be leading and they need to believe it. We work with so many new people. They need to understand that once they decide to get into property development, what it involves, they need to believe it's possible for them. They need to have that go-getting attitude. They need to have good habits in place. They need to have the desire to learn. They need to have that desire to be a strong, credible person. They need to have the desire for success. They need to have a very big why. All those personal traits that are really important. I think that anyone who's successful in life, and we know many successful people. In fact, we went for lunch on Tuesday. It's the time of year that people go for lunch and have Christmas lunches and thank you lunches and that sort of thing with somebody who was incredibly successful. And for me, what really stood out about him, apart from the fact that he was a Kiwi, which is epic, we had a great sort of, oh, wow, are you from New Zealand as well? But his mindset. And I think that it is overlooked that is, you are the leader of that team, and you don't have a team captain. If you look at any great sports team, they're led by a captain. You are the captain. You have to have a strong mindset, and if you don't, then you need to fix that. You need to put things in place. You need to maybe it's counselling, which don't be scoffed at. It's great for anybody's head. Maybe it's working with a mindset coach. Maybe it's just putting things in place yourself. Daily affirmations, visualizing things that make you feel positive, listening to positive books, and just making sure that you are in the right frame of mind to believe that you will be successful. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I wasn't thinking initially. I was thinking outside, but you're right. When you call a captain of the team, that's exactly right. You have to lead. And it's a powerful job.
Mm.
You can hire and fire people.
It made me think of rugby. I went straight to, what's his name, the All Black coach for many years. The All Black captain. But it made me think of a sports team. Your mentor is the coach, then you've got the captain of the team, and then the team are the people who they are the team that you bring in, and you want your best players on board. We've gone from orchestra to rugby team, or whatever league team, whatever you like, or AFL team, but the same thing, that same scenario. You want your best players on. So we've got you as the captain, ready to run everything, believing that it's possible for that team. And then, when you step into anything with positivity, you bring positive energy and you bring positive people to you. And that was probably why I enjoyed lunch so much the other day, because we sat down with somebody who had such high energy, so positive, so excited about life. There was no doom and gloom. It was just a fabulous energy. And that attracts people with fabulous energy. So, okay, now we'll go on to the actual team players. Let's go. Let's pick our squad, Bob.
Okay, so we moved
front row.
We've moved past Richie McGaw.
Yeah, Richie McGaw. That was it.
We moved on to the others. So I'll go back to what I said earlier. I'm not picking them in order of importance because it's a very difficult thing to do. I'm starting back at the beginning because, like I said, no point worrying about who the builder is if you don't get that far. So I said finance broker, a good experienced commercial finance broker, familiar with property development finance, because it's all about money. Well, it's more than about money. It's about numbers. But if the numbers work, then it's all about money. And that's what you've got to do. And that's where it starts with that broker. First of all, what can you afford to do? They can help you with that. They can have a look at your personal position, your financial position, and they can say, well, look, we can get our hands on this much money. And then you can say, well, if I've got that much money, what can I do? And then you can say, well, gee, that's not enough. I'm going to have to get an investor, or that's enough. That's the sort of deal I'll look for. So very early in the piece. Otherwise, if you don't know the size of project that you could do or what you should be looking for, then how can you really go looking for a project or a site? So they're pretty early. They're just one of many, but they're the experts, once again. All day, every day, they're getting finance for developers.
And I think the key, as you said, a good experienced broker. Sometimes experience doesn't cut it as well. Like, you can have a broker who's got experience and they can get a bit lazy. So you need an experienced developer who wants to help you, who has a good track record.
Broker,
yeah. You need an experienced broker. I've had an experience recently with a broker who just didn't respond a few times. And, it's a critical time of year and I go straight into panic mode because, that's the timing's so important. And it is, to make sure you've got the money you need to move forward to do the thing you want to do. And it's not a nice feeling when they're unresponsive. And I think that's one of those key attributes we're looking for, someone who's responding. And even if the response is, yep, I saw the email, I'll get back to you later, or anything, get their receptionist to give you a call or something. But I think it's that responsiveness is an attribute. And I suppose I've moved on to attributes now of a good broker. What are other attributes that they need to have? You've got experience, we've got responsiveness. What are the other things, Bob?
Yeah, probably part of your problem is they're a retail broker. They're two more retail finance and commercial finance. But I have had commercial finance people of experience that have gotten slack, or they've gotten busy but they can't handle busy and had to move on, change.
That's been a big thing. I've seen that happen a few times, actually. People have gotten busy and then they got too busy and then they start dropping the ball.
That can happen with any of the team members.
Yes.
And that's what I mean. It's back to you as the developer. You are the hirer and the firer. So it might be that you persevere with them this time, but you won't use them next time. Or if it's very, very early in the piece, you might just not appoint them.
And it brings us straight back really to your tip. It's about that hire slowly and fire rapidly. I don't know if they were the words you used, but either if you have engaged them, it can be a little bit hard to move or to switch somebody out. But if you haven't, or do they just think for the next one I will change to somebody else?
Yeah, if they're showing their true colours a bit later and they're engaged, it's not always easy to remove them. You can in some circumstances, like an architect. I'm jumping around here, but let's say you hire an architect to get your development permit. Now, normally, if everything was going well, you'd engage them to continue with that and do all the detailed plans for your building permit. And I've done it, if I wasn't happy with their performance at the DA stage, you can sack them and another architect can come in and take over for the detailed stuff. And it's the same when you buy a site that's already got a development permit. You're not bound to use the same architect that got it. So that's an example of a team member that if they weren't performing, there is an opportunity on the way through to remove them. With most consultants, it's not the case. And yes, you have to do your best and just not re-engage them next time.
I suppose, listening, people, you listening now, you're thinking, oh, it's all right for you, Bob. You've got hundreds of people to choose from, But so we're starting at the beginning, but where do they even go to find these people?
Well, I've got the same number of consultants out there that anybody else does. So really, there's a pool. When you get a good one, though, you tend to repeat using them. Like, we just talked about a finance broker. Sometimes we go direct to the financier, but often we'll use a broker. And we're using a broker on 3 deals at the moment, same broker, because they keep doing a good job. Keep hiring them, eh? But
do you know what I'm going to add to that? Working with those brokers, that's a separate one to the other one I'm working with. These brokers are so good, and I really enjoy working with people that I can work with outside of 8 to 5. That they will quite happily send me a text message, and I can quite happily send them one, because there's a lot of stuff that's working on timelines, and we're heading into Christmas. So for me, and you might be the same listening, and even I don't know how, you're probably a bit less like texting, but we will go, I actually do a little bit, not as much as I do. We will work with texting, and it can be some out of hours stuff. Because of the time of year, 7:30 last night, I'm working with the accountant. He sent me an email and I replied back, and I knew he was working late, so I thought, I'll just keep up with you, because it progresses things along. We're heading into that time of year when settling early January is going to be messy. There has the potential to become messy. So working with him and not just thinking, oh no, it's 5 o'clock. Thank goodness he doesn't. It's 5 o'clock. I'm not doing it. And that's exactly the same. That's both the structural accountant, the accountant doing all the work, and the broker. Both of those guys are working outside of hours with me, and we're communicating outside of hours. And I really do like that. I just appreciate the fact that, they're being paid well for what they do, and they probably have expectations from me as well, and they probably appreciate me being there responsive for them as a client.
And that's part of the reason why they're on our team.
Yeah.
Because they're that sort of person. They have the same work ethic and philosophy that we do. If it was somebody that just, bang, 5 o'clock, I'm out of here, we wouldn't be working with them.
Yeah, so I think that's another attribute we have, somebody who has a good work ethic, somebody who prioritises, just, I use GSD, get done. Let's, just get it done.
Get stuff done.
Yeah, there's a hash there. But yeah, just get the stuff done, because it needs to be done, and we're all just working to timelines as they are.
And that can even occasionally happen on a weekend, not just after hours. But that's what I mean. We both got the same work ethic, all of us.
Did you realise that? Or is that something, when I say that now, it's like, oh, actually, that is a thing. It might have just organically happened.
Yeah. Because you're drawn to those sorts of people. Not only do they do a good job, but they'll do what has to be done. And sometimes that means doing work on a weekend, doing work after hours. And that's the sort of people we want on our team. because we're like that.
And it's not sitting behind a desk conversations. We both talked on the phone yesterday. We're both in cars. Someone was on their way to something and I was on my way to something else, but things are happening, keeping each other up to speed with where we're at and looking for what's the next step to be done. That was with the broker. So yeah, that's a really good thing to point out. So what do we got next, Bob?
Well, you just mentioned somebody else there. You mentioned the accountant.
Yep.
And that would be the right sort of accountant once again. Like we said, there's all levels of accountants to get our structure for our development right. So we're looking at things like minimising tax, asset protection, those sorts of things that they look at to get the right structure to suit our purposes.
And all that compliance stuff, making sure that it's set up properly to tick the boxes. Because crikey, there's some boxes to tick and some hoops to jump through.
Yeah, that's particularly on some of the projects that you're doing that on, because there's multiple investors in there who are buying units, and therefore the whole money laundering thing comes in big time. If you just
let's just clarify that we're not money laundering, but there's been a massive tighten up, which is it needs to because of security and how the world is so open globally. So money laundering is a really big thing at the moment, and so security has tightened up a lot. So when Bob's talking about buying units, he's not talking about buying a unit in a development. He's talking about units that go together to form a structure
with multiple investors in a development. So that they have to be checked out thoroughly to make sure there's no money laundering going on, really, and who they are. Yeah, lots more compliance, getting a bit tougher. But normally, just for a developer doing a project, there's no drama.
No.
If you have to set up a company yourself and be the director, that's real quick. That could be the same day. If you've got to set up a trust, I need a lawyer for a trust. That's easy when you're just doing your own developments.
Why does the bank take so long to set the bank account up? That's something that always gets me. Like we can get a trust set up. We've got to wait for the bank. What on earth are they up to?
Well, it depends on the account. Personal account, they'll do while you wait. A company account, they can do really quickly. But when there's a trust involved, even if it's just a family trust, discretionary trust, just any trust at all, it has to go through their legal department. So quite often that trust would be sent off to the legal department. Let's say they're any bank, let's say their legal department's in Sydney. So that trustee would be sent off to Sydney, and their in-house legal team would go through that trust to make sure that that trust is right, and then send the results, basically back to whoever is handling the loan, perhaps in another state. So they're not going to look at it the moment it arrives. There's a bit of a delay, and that can take, look, I've seen it 24 hours. I've seen it 5 working days. So
I think we're waiting on someone at the moment who's about 3 weeks. So it's been a while.
Yeah, that's way too much. No bank should take that long. A week I can understand. No more than that.
Okay, we might have a chat about that after this. Who knows? So we've got the accountant. Who's next, Bob, that we really need to get in line if we're working through the process?
Oh, well, good real estate agent. We've got to find a site. Most sites are bought through real estate agents. Not all of them. Could be an off-market deal. Could be anything. But a majority of sites are still bought through local real estate agents. So we need to start to set up contacts there with the right sort of agents. So if we've done that previous work, we know what we can afford. Therefore, that'll tell us the type of project. I assume at this point we've worked out where we want to do one. Like, I'm not going to go into extreme detail, like picked a patch. And we have to pick a patch before we can talk to the agents. So we know what we can afford. We've got a structure waiting. We've chosen our patch, and now we've got to find. So we're talking to real estate agents, but we're not picking up one team member at a time. Like, while we're doing this, we would be looking for
it's not a tick list.
Suitable, town planners, architects, and we can even start to talk to builders. We can start to talk to any team members at any time. We might not engage them right yet, but we can start to work out who they might be.
What do you love about a real estate agent? Who's your favourite? What attribute? Terry and Murray.
I was thinking of that.
Terry and Murray at where is she? She's at Amber Wirchin. Yeah, there you go. Go Terry. She's a great real estate agent. But if we are, what attributes do you like? And I tell you what, she has some good. I suppose if I'm looking at an agent, great attributes. She actually has a team under her as well. So she's not just a lone ranger. Not that that matters at all, but it means that she's across a lot. She
should be efficient, which she is.
Yes, she is efficient.
Because she's got that help. She's not trying to wear 6 hats.
No, that's the thing. And the people that always try to do things on the cheap, the people that won't invest in themselves, the people that won't pay people to help them are the people that are trying to wear all the hats, and that's where it just does not work. Yes. But somebody like Terry Ann who has great connections, and you meet her and she's got an amazing energy. She's just a go-getter. So you want an agent who is really smart, who's got a great energy, who has lots of connections, because developing is about meeting people with connections. It's always about the connections, the people that you meet when you're walking on the street. Wasn't that Sesame Street?
I think it was.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Anything else that you like about a good real estate agent?
Well, depends whether they're male or female, but I don't have a preference. Although I know some exceptionally good lady real estate agents at the back end for sales. So yeah, but no preference there. Look, just experience in that area. Ideally, I've made sales before for developers. You can go online and see how many sales real estate agents are making, but yeah, somebody I can communicate well with, somebody who's on side. When you first meet a real estate agent and you're maybe new to a patch, new to them, you got to build that rapport with them. You often see you have to chase the agent for a while. Once they realise you're genuine,
they'll chase you.
You'll end up, it's maybe some sort of dating game thing. I don't know, but you start off chasing them and they'll end up chasing you.
Is that what you reckon I did?
No, I just chased you. So that's often the way people say that. Oh, they haven't replied. Well, that's okay. Bring them back, have a talk to them, go and meet them, go to open houses, do all that.
That's a really good tip, Bob, because I do hear people say that a lot. I hear them say, oh, they haven't got back to me. They haven't got back to me. And I just tell them my process. So, yeah, we've got a good real estate agent. We've got them on board. Who's next?
Well, assuming we can get a site, and we've got to have a lawyer. Now, lawyers come in and out of it all the way. We might need a lawyer if we're doing a joint venture agreement at the beginning. We'll need a lawyer to settle our site. We'll need a lawyer to prepare contracts when we're selling. We'll need lawyers to help us settle at the back end. Lawyers, or I say lawyers, I mean a settlement at the back end, if it's simple, could be a conveyancer, but I'll just call them all lawyers. So they come in 4 or 5 times during the project.
And they can be different. You can use different lawyers for different things, so you won't necessarily always use the same one. We recently had that average experience with a lawyer. We needed a different lawyer. We already had two on the go with a particular development, but we just needed something done. So with the different ones, we need a stamp duty specialist because at times there are things that come up, and because we work in a world that change is constantly changing, and you need to know just technical stuff at times. And there's already 2 other lawyers working within that development, had to go and get some specialist advice, but they were too busy and they were keen to take the work on, but we needed that response fast. And that was a little bit frustrating, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, because we wasted a few days on that.
Nobody
likes to waste time.
It's only days, but it did impact things because we're always working to a timeline, especially when it comes to finance. So we never went back. There we go.
That's what happens.
Yeah. And
don't upset us.
They were a recommendation through a friend. And we're just like, someone I thought would actually get the job done pretty quick. It wasn't a major, but turned into a little bit slack. So who's next after our lawyers?
Oh, well, we're moving on now. We're talking about getting a development permit. So if we got our site, we lined it up, our finance is good, broker, everything's good, buying. That'll be, depending on the type of project we're doing. If it's a simple little subdivision, pretty easy there. We need a surveyor, maybe a town planner, or maybe the surveyor can do the town planning part of it. Civil engineer, pretty simple, get our development permit. If we're building something like a duplex, townhouses, well, a few more. So we're talking about an architect or a building designer. We need somebody to do some initial plans up. We need a town planner to make sure it all complies. We need a surveyor to survey the site. We probably need a landscape architect to do a bit of a concept plan. May or may not need a civil engineer to talk about services. So little team. On something like duplex, let's say, could be a team of 4, maybe 5 people to get our development permit. So doing a little bit of coordinating now, coordinating those consultants to get that.
You got that. This is when the captain and the team's really telling everyone where to go.
Come on, Richie.
Yeah.
Get those guys in the right position.
We probably really should use the Australian rugby team coach who is captain, who is, I know his name. Is it Harry?
From Penrith. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is.
I mean, who cares? I'm going back to Richie McCaw.
Okay, stick with Richie. Yeah. So we need to make sure that that's all being handled well. And the same again, the attributes of people that are responsive, ideally experienced. I know everyone's got to start somewhere, but they can start with somebody else, not you. Is that what you believe?
Yeah, like a surveyor. I mean, if you're talking about it's important. You have to get a survey done, and you say you need an architect then to start drawing. But if you had to say one's more important than the other, I'd go the architect, because getting that design right is really important. There are levels of surveyor, but I mean, a surveyor's in a way is a surveyor, so they've got to go out there. They've got to do their survey. They've got to plot where the house is, any sheds, any trees,
Basically
any
sticks
services.
and string, isn't it? A tape measure. It's
Yeah,
basically
and
that.
maybe a theodolite in there somewhere. So
whatever that is. What's a theodolite?
It's one of those things they
A
shoot
torchlight
levels
thing.
with. No, it's on a stand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Is that what that's
surveying
called?
thing.
I
Well,
would
it's
have
one
just.
of them. These days it's all digital, but
Is this called a theodolite? Well, there you go.
well, it's probably moved on some digital thing now. But
A digilite, yes.
I'm just saying, like, I mean, there might be like 6 surveyors around that area that could do the same job for you, but the architect's more important.
Yeah,
because getting that design right is very important.
How many times have we seen a wrong design? And they sit on the market for too long. They don't sell. You don't get the price you're after.
And it often starts with the developer, though, because you have to have the right market research to be able to advise the architect on the sort of things you want. So you would have gone out and had a look at what's been successful in the marketplace and taken note of that and taken photos of it and got hold of plans or whatever you need to do, so that when it's your turn now as the developer, you can instruct the architect. This duplex, how big are they? How high are the ceilings? Like a whole heap of stuff.
Because the architect doesn't necessarily know all the other stuff that you need to find out first, because you've done your DD with the research on the patch. So they can draw the thing, but they don't actually know all of the stuff for the thing.
Yeah, particularly the finer points. So if you chose the right architect, let's say you've chosen a patch, you're going to do a duplex, let's keep it simple. So you'd find an architect that's done other duplexes in that area that look really good, and you might have found a couple and you've gone and talked to, so you're narrowing the field down there. So they know how to do a duplex in that area in general terms, but like I'm talking about really specific stuff that like really fine tuning it. You might have seen an absolutely incredible bathroom in a duplex where the agent says, this just knocked everybody out when they saw it. Well, okay, can I do that in mine? That sort of thing. Whereas the architect might just draw you a normal bathroom that's like decent, but you want this special one or special features in the kitchen or whatever it is. You might want to go for a higher ceiling because it's in a really good spot in that area, and you can get the extra main. It's going to look fantastic. 3 meters instead of 2.7. You wouldn't do that everywhere, but you might do it where you're doing yours because it's a bit special. All these things that are fine tuning that you can't just throw it at the architect and say, "Oh, can you design me a decent duplex, please?"
Top-notch bathroom too. Yeah, yeah. I totally get what you're saying. And even when you said when you have a good bathroom, I love walking in when you get that finished product. So even open homes, walk in and you're just like, wow, this is nice. And sometimes you walk in and you go, oh yeah, cool. But when you have that wow factor, yeah. So you want somebody who can create the wow factor within your budget in the market that you're creating for.
And with these consultants, we were just talking about DA, it's quite possible that some of them worked together before, which can be a good thing. Like if an architect's worked with a town planner before, and maybe even the civil engineer and the landscape architect. I mean, if you're doing another duplex later in that same area, or some townhouses even, whatever in that area, and you were happy with that team, you'd probably find you'd use the same surveyor, the same landscape architect, same town planner. And then when you're moving on to the building permit, the next stage, there's a few other people come in like engineers. And it might well be that particularly things like if a structural engineer's worked with an architect before, that can be helpful. It doesn't have to be. They could all not know each other at all. But sometimes it can be a good thing. I think you remember a time, I remember you telling me about it with one of the mentoring students who got a bit of flack because the architect he'd chosen and the town planner, unknowns to him, had a bit of history.
Yeah, but a argy-bargy history didn't work. It wasn't good. It wasn't good kind of history. It was bad kind of
So they
history.
sort of fought all the way through.
Yeah, which just makes it a bit toxic.
He didn't know why at the time, why things were going slow, and there was a bit of aggro around, but then found out later that the town planner and the architect had some bad history previously.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame when things like that happen. So, that brings me to gut feeling. I was speaking with another mentoring student the other day. She was choosing her town planner. One had been unresponsive but was ideal for the job. The other one had been responsive and she really liked them. But they probably would be better for the next job, not quite this job. So she was looking at a smaller project versus a larger land subdivision as her next project, which is, they're both going to happen. But she was just saying to me, I really don't know what to do. And when I talk to someone who talks about, I feel a bit confused, when they use the word feel, if you're a feeler, then you're very big on gut feel. And that was my question to her. What's your gut feel about who would be best to do this project? Because then some people who choose to think, oh, what if I use them now? They'll expect me to use them later. It's business. And people have to realize that business is business. People move on, people do things. That's just business. And so my question to her was, what's your gut feel on this? Who do you believe? What's the feeling of the right one? And so that helped her choose. So if you're stuck with the choice of a consultant, sometimes listen to what your gut's saying. What is it telling you? Because it picks up things and that's your instinct. You know things without realizing that you already know them, and pay attention to what your gut's saying.
Yeah, no, that's true. Some people have a better gut feeling than others, but no, good advice.
It's not always indigestion.
No.
or a tummy bug. So we've got those guys all underway. What's next, Bob?
We're into the building permit. So town planner's finished.
Yep.
Architect's back, detail. Surveyor, if they've done both their surveys at the beginning, they won't be coming back. So civil engineer, you may have used one in the DA, may not have, but they'll have a bit of work to do now, getting all the services designed. Architect, detail, structural engineer, all those structural sorts of things like frames and bracing and tie downs.
And this is when it's really important that they will be responsive and do the work. As we're talking about that power team, you've got to choose someone who's going to do the work when you need them to, and so they know it's coming up. So they've got that time allocated to you. I remember somebody else we know very well, and they had trouble at this point because I'm pretty sure it was one of the engineers was really slow, and it was just so frustrating for them. It slowed things down. In the end, it paid off because there was that uplift in the market. It was during that COVID and post-COVID time where there was a backlog of work. People were so-called working from home, which we know is not really a thing. They sitting at their desk at home or mowing the lawns in some cases, we say cynically, but tongue-in-cheek, can't help myself. But they were really impacted by that. So you need a person on your team who's not going to drop the ball or just think, oh, you're just small fry, I've got bigger clients than you. You need someone who prioritizes you as being important, hey?
Yeah, and in that BA or sometimes CC if you're in New South Wales stage, the key individual would be the architect stroke, building designer, because some of the other consultants are waiting for him or her to finish the plans before they can do anything. So if the architect's slow, everyone's slow, the projects are slow. And I'm assuming in most cases you've settled on the site, unless you've got a really long settlement. It's costing you money every day while they muck around, and they're holding other people up. So you have to keep on top of that. And then, of course, once that's gotten the approvals, you're into the big one, the builder. Got to get the right builder. And that's important, choosing the right builder.
Oh, my gosh, isn't it ever? That can have a massive impact. I mean, everyone can have a massive impact on your team, on that power team that helps you be successful. But the builder, that is big, isn't it?
Well, it could be the biggest cost. Yes. Your two big costs are what you pay for the land and the builder. It could well be that the builder is the bigger of the two. It's not unusual, a townhouse project like that, or even a duplex, where those two elements, the land plus the building construction, could easily be 80% of all your costs. So it's important. It's important what you pay for the land, but very important builder, not just around cost. Cost is important, but timing, how long they take, that's important. But also, what's the experience going to be like on the way through with the builder in terms of communication? And the builder's doing all the work, and then the subbies are working for the builder. You're integrating with the builder. There'll be questions the builder will have along the way. And that communication is so important. You can tell a lot about a builder while you're getting your tender done and how quick they are to respond, how helpful they appear. It's going to be like that or worse. If they're slow to get back to you with a quote, they're going to be even worse once they've won the job
Run
and
a
signed up.
mile. Go. Just run. Yeah.
So those things show. And back end, well, there's a few little things happen at the back end, but the sales particularly. So it might well be back to the same agent that sold us the site. Doesn't have to be, but might be if they're the right person. And so yeah, get a built at the right price, get a built at the right time, good quality.
Also keeping in contact or having conversations with the real estate agent during the build. We just had an example just this week with one of the industrial blocks that we're building where the agent reached out and said, hey, I've taken somebody through already, through meaning there's just tilt slabs, but, and probably showing no roof, showing them a few pictures. But so there's interest. So the communication is, should we start the marketing now? Because there was no for sale sign up and none of that stuff started yet. The books are made, the pamphlets are good to go, are ready to go. They've all had the seal of approval. But so we've got those that we're starting the marketing now, or we're just going to start just after that conversation with put the for sale sign up. But that only happened because we're still interacting with them and we had chosen them to do it. So that's probably not a bad thing, picking that agent early enough to say, hey, I'm going to be going to market soon, because they just have their finger in a few little pies. They've got people reaching out to them.
Yeah, it'll be a soft sort of a launch because we're not really interested in signing contracts at the moment, but we'll be taking expressions of interest and a refundable deposit. And we'll actually finalise, as you know, you're involved in it. We put prices on it at the moment, but if the market's moved up by the time we finish construction, then we'll move the prices up. And there'll be people that have signed an EOI who might have moved on, bought something somewhere else. If that's the case, they'll probably ask for their deposit back along the way. There'll be others who say, they just got to agree at the end. But it'll be great we don't need pre-sales for the finance, so we don't have to get them. But yeah, just start to get people thinking about it and going on expressions of interest. I mean, we got 12 to sell. What if we got 30 people with EOIs? Then we can really squeeze the juice out of the lemon.
Yeah, how good. So good. So we've got to that end marketing team, and then everything else, well, I would say everything else just happens. But remember, we're going, whether we go to a conveyancer to finalise all that stuff off, back to the accountant, money gets dispersed, and that's the dream team. Did I miss anyone at the end? I've summarised it pretty quickly.
No, that's pretty right. And other than say, let's have a party.
Yeah. And if you need a good person on your party team, that would definitely be me. I make a great party leader. Not political.
You've led many parties.
I have led a few parties.
Successful conclusion.
I have. So, Bob, I think if we a big takeaway here, what would be a takeaway that you would advise someone when looking for your dream team?
Well, take your time. Start early. Look at referrals. Don't just throw a dart at a board. Within community, if you've got one, if you've got a mentor, talk to them. Other go around. You can see other developments in your patch, who they're using. You can start to do your research pretty quickly. So, yeah, just don't rush. Take your time. Check them out. Do your due diligence and engage them. So, time and money. So, one thing, what are they charging? How long are they going to take? Because time is money in property development. And
just because somebody else is using them in a patch doesn't mean that they're actually good. They could have made a bad decision because they didn't have a good educator at the top to tell them. They didn't have a good mentor or someone showing them. They weren't in the right frame of mind. They were a little bit disorganised. They're rushing it. They've got a lot going on in their life. And then it filters through and then you end up with a disaster. So just make really good decisions. And I think your tip is the takeaway as well, Bob. It's decide faster and higher. No, higher, slower. Higher, slowly.
Slow to choose, fast to fire.
Yeah, do that.
I like the alliteration, fast to fire.
Yeah, I like that too. We could make a movie out of that. Anyway, I think we can wind that one up. Happy Merry Christmas. This one comes out just before Christmas. Ooh. Have a fabulous Christmas. Thanks for joining us this year. Send us a comment. Put a comment in below YouTube or something. Say Merry Christmas to us. That would be fabulous. We've got books to give away. If you'd like to be a book winner, then write the Merry Christmas underneath. As per usual, if you want to know anything about our education process, there is a link to chat to somebody in the team below. That's always there. If you'd like to buy a copy of my book it's too late for Christmas, but maybe for a New Year's gift or just for somebody special, or you want to improve your own mindset, this is a great tool for that. Remember, step 2 of the team was yourself. And other than that, looking forward to a cracking 2026. Have a fabulous end of the year, and we'll catch you soon. Bye.
Bye.